Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have Cruzan Aged Dark Rum. This company started in 1760. You can't really see that too well, but down you can see it. (1760) Cruzan International. And the United States Virgin Islands, aged 2 to 4 years, and then shipped to the United States and bottled in Illinois. Okay, it says on the bottle. Deerfield, Illinois. Yeah. Okay. Skol, not dry white. Skol Rich Gold. Sorry, Virgin Islands rum. There's the Skol Shield. J.A. Doherty's Sons Company Distillers, an old 19th century company. Of course, the family sold out in 1919. Good time to get out, I guess. They're both 80 proof. This one has no age statement. It's bottled in Kentucky, Owensboro, Kentucky. And it says imported from the Virgin Islands. So if it's imported, that must be the British Virgin Islands, because it wouldn't be an import from the United States Virgin Islands. You don't import from a territory because you have an associated country. Just like if you took a plane to the U.S. Virgin Islands, you wouldn't need a passport. Well, you might need it now because of the smart ID thing, you know, that Patriot Act bull crap. But you don't need, you're not going from one country to another, okay, to the U.S. Virgin Islands. British Virgin Islands, okay, different story, because you're going from the United States to a different jurisdiction. That's what I'm saying. Different jurisdiction, Great Britain, the British overseas territories. Okay, so there's Cruzan, there's Skol. Skol imported from the British Virgin Islands, and then Cruzan produced in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And notice on the bottle it doesn't say imported, because it isn't not to the USA. Let's see. Boy, that is so pale. See, this I think is not colored. Oftentimes rum, they add color to give it, I guess, more appeal, more of a chestnut, amber appearance. But we're going to look at this in a moment. You'll see what I mean. Then the Cruzan. Now, tomorrow night, if I do Fandango Friday, and I'm planning to, I'll do one last rum taste challenge. It'll be Cruzan versus Aristocrat rum. And that would be it, because then I'm off to a blended American whiskey. Sunnybrook versus everybody else. Let's look at the Cruzan bottle for a minute. Origin of St. Croix, distilled, aged, and blended by Cruzan International, St. Croix, United States Virgin Islands. Well, I want to retract that. It says imported by and bottled for Cruzan International Limited, Deerfield, Illinois. Imported. Just undermine everything I said. Well, I think that's a mistake. It's not imported. You don't see Bacardi bottles saying imported from Puerto Rico, do you? No. They don't say imported from Puerto Rico. Maybe shipped, transferred. Anyway, I mean, so if these people working at the liquor companies don't know the law or the regulations or the understanding of the concept, then I can't help that. Maybe Skol is made in the U.S. Virgin Islands and imported, they say, but it isn't. All right. Anyway, you don't pay a tariff. There's no such thing as a tariff from a U.S. territory to the states. That's what I'm trying to get at. Does it really matter? No. But I do like to be correct on things. All right. Yeah, it's nice to kind of know what you're talking about. There are U.S. territories in the West Indies. Puerto Rico is a commonwealth, which is more elevated than a territory. It's a self-governing commonwealth. Sort of like a semi-independent country, like when Canada was a dominion, for instance. The Virgin Islands is still a territory. Now, the Great Britain, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. United Kingdom has territories in the West Indies. British Virgin Islands, Montserrat, the Turks and Caicos Islands. There you go. There's some. Anguilla. All right. So you can see that this is very deep gold. And this is so pale. Look at that pale straw. I mean, it's just pale. It's nearly almost like a yellow. It's not gold. It's like, well, maybe it's like very, 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 very pale gold jewelry. Pale yellow. Kind of looks nice. The skull looks pretty nice. Let's mix them up. Now the skull, I paid $6.99 for a liter. $6.99 for a liter. And International Market on Barron Street in Metairie, Louisiana, they had a whole pallet. You know, it's called a stud stack. It's out on its own, an island, stacked with cases and cases of it, right? $6.99. I bought a bottle. I went back a week later. It was all gone. You know, when they have a price like that, it blows out. It's gone. $6.99 a liter. They still sell it, but it's on the shelf. You know, maybe it's back to $7.99, something like that. All right. When they blew out a whole pallet of Canadian Limited whiskey, Canadian Limited, a handle bottle, 1,750 milliliters for $10.99. $10.99. That was going so quick. It was just out the stove. Okay. Cruzan was $9.99 at Albertsons, and I talked about that already in a previous video, how Albertsons tends to have perpetual sales. Like, it's on sale for $10.99, but then when is it ever not $10.99? And then the sale might end in July, and then July 1st, then you'll notice on July 3rd, it's starting up again. So they can technically say, well, it wasn't on sale all the time, because there was 4 days this year where it wasn't that price. And that's a way to get around the Better Business Bureau tagging you with unfair business practices or deceptive business practices. But anyway, I've seen other stores sell Cruzan for $9.99 actually also. Now, normally it'd be $10.99, $11.99 at the worst case. Worst case. And then you can really get it cheaper getting the handle bottles. You can get a really good deal on that. And in fact, Albertsons had a great deal on those handle bottles. And big glass bottles too, not plastic. Nice looking stuff. $13.99, only $4 more. You get extra 1,000 milliliters. But I was thinking, yeah, but what if I don't like it and I have so much of it, you know? I'm glad I just paid more per ounce and got the $7.50. That'll be good enough, I think. Good enough. Okay, let's go. I think so. Already, if it's a tie, then it's a loss for Cruzan because you're getting more for less, $3 less. You get 25% more for $3 less, and that's it. So Cruzan's going to have to be way ahead of the game on flavor and aroma and body and all that to win. And I don't think it's going to even be better. I don't think it's going to be as good. That's my prediction. I don't know. That's why I'm doing the blind taste tests. All right. Okay, little sweetness here. Sugar, like molasses. It's mild. Now, Skol says rich gold. It isn't really rich, though. But that's what they say on the bottle. This has that little funky yeasty thing, caramel thing, wood barrel. I think this is the Skol already. You can tell because you're looking at it. I can't. I just remember the Skol So that's the Cruzan, I think, and this is the Skol. But let's go with the taste. Tonight at 7, I believe, sometimes I get these updates wrong, I think, but he says it on his premiere at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 4:30 Western time, Pacific time. William Kepley, and what's the ABV? That's his channel. He's doing AAL finals, American Adjunct Lager finals. Coors Banquet versus Pabst Blue Ribbon. I knew I couldn't join if he did it tonight. I cannot do it tonight. I have something to do. So I did what you call it, an exhibition. And I said, this is not the final. This is just an exhibition. And I said he could take my score and use it if he wanted to, or he could ignore it. But I wanted to, I wanted to do that because I didn't want to just blow off his challenge like, oh, it doesn't matter. I can't join, so it doesn't count. If I'm not part of it, it doesn't matter. No, I don't do it like that. I wanted to show him, hey, I'm doing this anyway, even though I can't join. But he got angry and said I was trying to upstage him or something like that. It was totally not the case, and I guess I misread it. But I did buy the 6-pack of Coors and the 6-pack of Pabst, and I didn't buy them just to be buying them. I intended to review them. I think in the chat I said I'm going to review them hook or crook, and he took that as a negative thing. Like he said, you took them hook or crook, and it's more like crook. But I don't know. Social media, I don't win too much on social media. I lose a lot. Like trying to do the right thing or trying to be part of the whole movement, the gang and the group, and it always kind of like, it doesn't always, but it often comes across bad when you're trying to do good. But yes, that is a fact. I absolutely was going to do the taste challenge, whether I could join or not, because I don't buy these things to not do it. If I buy beers to do taste challenges, I'm doing it, Now that is a fact. That will happen. And it did happen. And I bought Busch to go up against Pabst, which apparently is everybody's, against Coors. But since I have cans of Pabst and Coors left, hey, why not? I'll go Busch versus both of them. Nobody else was interested in doing Busch. They were like, no one cares about Busch beer. I felt kind of bad about it, But I said, I'm not going to get down in the dumps over it. What difference does it make anyway? It's just taste challenges and not that important. I'll just take Busch and go against both of them, see how it pans out. May not mean much, won't hurt. So that's the end of that, but I just thought I'd put that out there. But so watch his challenge tonight. Probably be a whole bunch of people on there. I'll watch the playback, but I can't join. Just can't. Oh, it's just a bunch of alcohol, A little wood. It's not too spectacular, man. It's okay. Like if you drink it on its own, it's all right. It's okay. It's kind of dull, but it's a mixer. No one buys these kind of things to drink neat. I don't think. Maybe 1%. If you only drink them, if you drink them in isolation, they're fine. But by golly, you put them in competition against something like Appleton Estate or the Grand Reserve at Diaz from Bacardi, it's a fiasco. It is really a mismatch, a disastrous mismatch. But it's fun anyway, I didn't make the products. This is another one. Tastes like rubbing alcohol. Well, I never drank rubbing alcohol, but like you would imagine it would taste. It's just so basic. It's like a little wood, a little char, a little sugar sweetness, and a whole lot of alcohol. You say, oh, it sounds pleasant. It isn't really pleasant. But it's not, like, oh, I can't take it. It's so horrible. It's nothing like that. It's just, stark. That's the term, stark. It's just nothing there much. And if you made a statement like, they're just like service products, they're serviceable. They're not meant to be anything too examinatory. I agree with that. Now, which is which? It's very difficult, I'm afraid. But see, I can't even tell them apart right now. What does that mean? Obviously, Skol wins. It's $3 cheaper. You get 25% more. You say, well, I like cheap liquor. I don't care about the flavor. I just want 80 proof. I want to get that feeling or whatever, and I'm going to pour it in RC Cola and wherever you pour it in. Coffee, some people do. Okay, fine. It's perfect for that. You don't ask much. You don't get much. You don't pay much. No trade-offs, really. It's really no trade-off because you weren't expecting any good flavor to start with, and you didn't pay much, so it worked out. It wasn't like you were expecting $40 rum and you paid $6.99. You were expecting bottom of the barrel. Okay, but not bad, but not bad. So Skol is the winner. You know, I think, boy, it's hard. Ooh, that alcohol smell. Ooh. Yeah, I know it. I know what it is now. I know now. And it really is better. Skol is better. It has a better woodier flavor. I'm sorry, Cruzan. You keep losing and it ain't my problem. This is the Cruzan and this is the Skol because it's got that deep wood flavor that I recall. So let's see. I won't even have to look at the tag. Ha, 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 ha. It is the Cruzan. And that's the Skol. Skol wins as predicted. Gave me a little trouble at first, but I got it. Kevin Johnston, I'm on the way to work enjoying some Ronald radio. Yeah, these shows are more like radio. Cheers, my friend. A lot of people are like real hung up on like video quality, like 1080, 60p and all that. I mean, if you're watching a movie, yeah, I get that. But these kind of things where somebody's tasting whiskey or wine or something, or rum. And my audio, I mean, my video is 1080, except for the Hangouts B720. But why? Why does that matter? Because you're mostly listening to it. You don't need to look at somebody taste beer, right? I don't. When I put these beer reviews on and I watch them constantly, I'll be fiddling around with other stuff, maybe dusting with the feather duster, and I'll play them. I don't need to sit there and look at the person. They'll say, oh, look how red the beer is. Well, I know it's red. It's Killian's Irish Red. I know it's Russ Red. I might look at it and say, yeah, it does have more lacing than we expected. But to sit there and just watch the person, no, I just listen to it like a radio show, just like Kevin's doing. Daniel Floyd, Hamm's is the best American edge lager I've had so far. Oh, yeah? I was thinking about Hamm's last night. Or was it yesterday morning when I woke up? It's good, and I like it. We barely get it here. It never did catch on. They brought it to Louisiana about 3 years ago, 2017, I believe it was. Stores had it out there. Hamm's, no one bought it. I mean, it trickled out. So then the distributors, I think, got discouraged and started pulling it. They might still sell it in this town, but they may not. There's just too many substitutes that are similar to Hamm's that are cheap around here. So, I mean, even Milwaukee's Best is gone from this area. The regular, the premium, why is that? Well, because it was no cheaper than Keystone Light, or Natural Ice, or Natural Light, or Bush Light. And I think in Louisiana, I can't speak for other states. In Louisiana, if people are going to buy a cheap beer with a low-profile flavor and easygoing drinkability, they're just going to grab the ones they're familiar with. Bush, Miller High Life Light, Keystone Ice, Keystone Light, Natural Ice, Natural Light, and those major Molson Coors. There's no more Miller Coors. Molson Coors, Anheuser-Busch brands. That's just the way it goes. And if it's Hamm's, even though we know it's Molson Coors, the perception in Louisiana is that it's some independent company, or people will call it an off-brand. They're not going to get on the internet and research it, look it up, find out about it. They're not. They will not in almost every case. So they just ignore it. They think it's going to be bad. I'm not going to try it, even though Hamm's is right up there with the rest. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do the research and try it and check it out. But I'm a hobbyist, you know. I'm not just a general consumer. So anyway, these brands they try to bring in to compete. They don't ever really compete. So that's your big brands in Louisiana for inexpensive products. What I just named. Keith, Steel Reserve 211, 6% is a competitor in the six-pack market. Oh, don't let me forget Bud Ice. Bud Ice is one of the top brands of any sort in Louisiana. And I was talking to a Bud Anheuser-Busch salesman yesterday. I said, I heard that Busch is really taking off in sales around the United States. He said, it is. I'm not aware of that. I said, I thought it was a big seller. He said, not any more than the past. I said, oh. He said, what's really taken off is the Bud Ice. I said, that was big already. He says, really going crazy. So Bud Ice, Bud Ice, Bud Ice. But another familiarity brand, a familiar brand, right? People know about it. They buy it incessantly. Cheers, Ron, says Dr. Frosty Brew. Cheers to you. Well, I'm out of here. So cheers to Skol for the victory. It was a close match, but really it wasn't close because of the $3 difference, and you get 25% more. So Skol is the clear winner over Cruzan. Sorry, Cruzan, hate to break your heart, but it ain't really my problem because I don't make the product and I'm not part of your company. All right, thanks for watching this video production. Get ready tomorrow night for the end of the rum taste challenges for the foreseeable, not foreseeable because I do foresee, I have white Cruzan coming up, but you know what I mean for now. The Cruzan Age White is coming up in a couple of months. Thank you very much.